So we finally get the Vegas episode we have been waiting for. The question now is, did we get the answers we were seeking? Were we right about our theories? Did something happen with Liv and Spencer? Well, I'm here to talk about it all. Let's get into it. What up, everybody? It's your boy K-Ray06 here on K-Ray TV, and we are here for another recap review of All American Season 3, Episode 7, titled Roll the Dice. First, I want to give a shout out to Naomi Beauty Mind for, one, being an awesome member of the Dream Squad, and two, because she actually sent me some of the pictures I'm going to be using in this review. So I want to give her a shout out for that. Thank you, because it did help. And since I don't do this much, I am on Instagram and on Twitter a lot. So if you guys wanted to like chit chat about shows outside of YouTube, pretty much, you can hit me up there. You can click on my banner, or you can just check in the description of every video, and I have all my social media links there. All right. So again, thank you, Naomi Beauty Mind, for the pictures and always the great conversations. As usual, we're going to go through the episode, giving our thoughts, and lastly, talk about the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. Before we do that, you already know, run the likes up on the video as it helps the channel. If you're new here and want to become a part of the Dream Squad as we are on our way to that 5K, then show some love by hitting that sub, clicking the noti bell, hitting all, and sharing like you caring. Everything is appreciated here. All right, now let's get into the episode. Episode starts off where it ended off last week with Layla asking Spencer what happened during the summer with Vegas. We then jump 2 months into the past where the group is arriving at this suite thanks to Layla's dad, who you may have noticed has now been recasted. Don't worry though, the original actor Elvis, I'm gonna say Elvis N because I don't want to mispronounce his name, did nothing wrong, but due to COVID restrictions, he could not come out here to make it for filming. So at the last minute, he was recasted. That doesn't mean that he could not come back at a later time because he is not at odds with the company. But for now, we got JP 2.0. All right. Now, at the suite, everyone is like taking it in. JJ gives us the episode catchphrase, "It's Vegas, baby." Now, while last episode I put JJ on my downright disrespectful list, I honestly like JJ. He always brings great energy to the show, and he's a dope friend, to be honest. So it's only right that he gave the catchphrase this episode. Now, while JJ is Vegas and babying all over the suite, Simone and Jordan are cupcaking in the corner, and you already can tell where the episode is headed for those two. Layla is also hoping for a great turnout this weekend. And I ain't talking about Coop's tour. Her dad is throwing out all the stops to make his daughter happy, and her happiness is tied to Spencer. She's trying to impress Spencer and show him that she is ready to get back into a relationship with him. And she even slips up and says JP, knew how important it was to have Spencer there before she like failed at cleaning up to have all y'all here. Like, oh, Layla. If you only knew then what you're about to know now. Sheesh. JJ comes back into the scene and he ends it with the catchphrase again, saying, "It's Vegas time, baby." And the title comes in. Bow. Now, so far, the episode is completely opposite of the last episode, which was like drama and a lot of tea spillage. But I had a feeling like, it's going to build up to that much needed drop of tea during the course of the episode. Next, we get some good old Vegas gambling going on, and I was wondering previously how they're going to pull this off because we forget that sometimes these kids are minors in high school, so they wouldn't be able to gamble in Vegas, but JP got them their own private room, so I got my answer there. Money probably does solve everything. Anywho, we during this scene, Here we set up Patience plot line for this episode involving her want to do more on her tour, which was to step away from the pop song and sing her own song. However, as we know, things didn't work out so well for her on that front. After last episode, we get a scene with Coop and Spence pre-argument catching up from being apart over the summer. This is the first time actually that they actually been apart during the summer. And they even joke about like Coop getting close to me because you only say someone is not your girl when one, you're unsure. But we're gonna discuss that later on in the episode. All right. Lastly, we get Jordan confessing how much he loves Simone. He doing some more good old feeling the vibe because she is feeling all them lovey-dovey feelings for Spencer as well. So then she go mosey on over there to him to hang out as well. And she's chilling with him as Spencer is losing his money playing slot machines. And this is Spencer. And while I do ship Olivia and Spencer, I do like Layla and Spencer. Like I said in my episode 7 preview, Layla to continue to focus on Spencer. They do work. She does help. As the episode progresses, we see why. Stay hanging out. You can clearly see that Layla is enjoying every minute spent with Spencer, but she's also in her head due to her feelings for him. And then she tries to like redirect the moment by saying she's bummed that Olivia couldn't make it. And ladies and gents, we got our first pause from the episode. Layla, baby, like stop bringing up Liv every time when you were with Spencer. Like, cut it out. Like, I noticed the writers have her do that a lot now. Like, no, they got this bond. Like, why would you bring that up? No, like bringing up Liv and dropping a subliminal as no, who do we ship? Because everyone, and I mean everyone, kept assuming that Spencer and Layla are in game and kept trying to push that narrative and push him to make a move on her. I'm talking about Jordan. I'm talking about Olivia. Hell, I'm even talking about Coop. If one of y'all say that he needs to talk to Layla one more time, I'm coming up in them scenes. Like I'm coming up in them scenes and I'm coming up to fight. like why Coop, even though she was gone during the summer, didn't pick up on the vibe that Spencer heart or mind or head was somewhere elsewhere. Like Jordan even told her, don't fight the inevitable unless he likes being single and watching dumb movies with his sister. Like this was the second pause. Like it was the second time I paused and just looked at the screen like, bruh. Like Jordan, like that's your twin. Like you ain't picked up the vibe. Like you seen them watching movies and you ain't. Man, all y'all should be fired. After that, JJ walks in and he wants to party more, and everybody like bounce. They like, nah, we not doing that. Abandon ship. Let's go. And that leaves Layla with Spencer, and Layla tries to get Spencer to hang out with him more, and he declines. Say he's gonna go up to his room and call his mom. And guess what he did when he went upstairs? Like, baby, like guess what he did when he went upstairs? He called Olivia. Yes, called Olivia. Now, I don't know if he actually called Grace, but the show didn't show it. But he made sure to call Liv to talk to her before he ended his night. Boy, if the writing ain't on the wall, I don't know what to say. I love how Liv flirted with the idea of Spencer trying to put the moves on Layla. And not even 10 minutes into the episode, Spencer says, Layla and I are not together. And she even says, maybe even something will happen tonight. And Spencer shuts it down and said, it ain't happening. Like how many times did this man gotta tell y'all, like, bruh, nah, before y'all get the point. And then Liv asks, what is he gonna do? And he says he's gonna stay in his room and watch dumb movies. And she says, without me, not cool. And Spencer says, I guess you should have come then. And then Layla gives this little look like, maybe I should do a little pop-up. And that whole scene reminded me of like when I was in high school, talking to my boo, you know what I'm saying, up late. when I was supposed to be asleep. But I enjoy hearing her voice and talking to her into the rooster crows. And Like I get it. Like that's what that scene gave me. Like it painted a picture like something you see in an old school BET type videos, like my boo or something like with the girl laying on a bed and the dude on the phone trying to spit some game. Like I'm rambling here, but I like the scene. But the biggest takeaway from this was as Spencer is waking up, right? He's been woken up by Liv coming into his room all chipper, and she says, "Let's have some fun. It's Vegas, baby!" Like mocking JJ, and I just gotta point something out here. Like you have to be blind not to notice what is going on here. Not only did Liv get there the next morning, right? She miraculously got her hair done too and flew down there to surprise Spencer in his room. I mean, the boy still had sleep in his eyes, and Liv put the biggest smile on his face. Hell, even on my face, I'm over here cheesing like, like she showed up to my house or something. Like, if this ain't love, I don't know what is. Y'all, Layla shippers, like, I know this is not the episode for you because the amount of L's that Layla unknowingly has experienced this episode alone has been crazy. Now, next scene, we get more Spencer and Liv together. As they talk, Simone comes down, surprised to see Liv there, and is acting very strange. Because I already knew what they were planning, which was marriage, it was kind of painful to watch as she tried to lie horribly. But that left Liv and Spencer to have a day to themselves. Liv is trying to convince Spencer to make a move on Layla, and she says he's a take charge type of guy, so take charge. Let her know how you feel and buy her a gift or something. Oh my! I'm telling you, this episode, they had characters letting you know what was going to happen. Like the irony was so palpable, I can taste it. In the other scene, Coop tries to convince Patience to tell JP how she feels about singing her own song. But the real thing to pay attention to is when Layla brings in food to JP 2.0 and Lil Jewel is in the room and she says, I would give anything if her husband spoiled her as half as much as Layla spoiled her dad. Now, I thought to myself, why'd you say that? Why'd you say that? But later on in the episode, they will reveal when Patient was headed to JP's episode about giving her song to Lil Jewel that, JP was getting a little hot and heavy with the married woman. Like, honestly, I feel like if Patient was older, he would have made that move with her as well. And this explains why the NDA was needed, because it was to shut her up on all aspects of business, if you get what I mean. Now, back to Liv and Spencer. They end up going to like a sidekick shop, and Liv sees this beautiful necklace, and Spencer immediately hones up on it. Like, and we already knew that the necklace was gonna end up on Liv's neck, so I'm just sitting here like, why you ask if Layla gonna like it? Like, boy, stop. And before I can gather my thoughts, Madam Sidekick come around her bees like, he ain't looking for no gift. He looking for clarity. Like, woman, if you don't go back to them beads. They use this scene to basically spell out what the two characters are dealing with. Like, Spencer and Liv both needed clarity on their relationship, and once they both realized that and someone revealed their truth, it would change the dynamics of it all. Now, after they leave the place, Liv started to get on my nerve, talking about, how did the psychic know so much? And talking about the forever love, assuming that it was Spencer and Layla. And I'm like, bruh, can y'all stop with the assuming? Like, let this man be. Like, girl, I get it. You are testing the temperature, but you got on that whole plane, got your hair did at 2 a.m. in the morning, and flew to see Spencer. You do not need a temperature check. You need to get your man. Spencer throws the accusation right back at her, talking about maybe she could have been talking about her and Asher. But when Liv says she doesn't think so, Spencer agrees and say, me either. And I start cracking up. I'm like, boy, he letting her know. Even though he said, because the psychic was like a fraud or whatnot, or gimmick or whatnot, he meant that. He was like, they ain't your end game. They ain't it. Like... They then say, someone is hiding something, which leads Liv to go through Jordan's stuff. And then she finds, yes, you get it, a marriage license. I'm not gonna even pause it here to give my thoughts because by now y'all should have known this. Like, the writers have been screaming this for the last few episodes. So yeah, I mean, come on. Afterwards, Simone and Jordan walk in from their dinner, and Liv confronts them and lets them know, and then they let them know that they're getting married tonight in Vegas. Liv and Spencer won't answer, of course, and Liv is going in on talking about they too young, they too fast, and Spencer like, well, you're doing too much. Like, like, I'm sorry, Spencer is funny in this episode. I was cracking up at Spencer. I'm like, you can just see that they vibe together. Jordan asked Spencer to be his best man, and he accepts. And then he asks Liv, even though she was reluctant, she agrees to do it. But during the scene, she looks for Spencer to back her up. And you can tell that they play off each other well. Like, even with him making a joke, like, too much, like she didn't take it any bad way, didn't piss her off. I don't know. She got it. And I'm like, they work. We shoot over to Coop and Layla, and we get this scene just to rub Layla's face in the mud. Coop is wondering why Layla and Coop is not back together because she is still in love with him. I want to slap the headphones off of Coop's head. Like, why? Like, talks to your mans first. Talk to your mans first before saying things that involve your mans and another girl. Like I feel bad for Layla. Like, she did nothing wrong here, and yet y'all just keep pumping her up. Just pump. Like, y'all just pumping her up and keep talking about this thing, yet you ain't talked to your mans. Bro, y'all setting her up for the biggest L. Next, we have Simone and Liv together, and they're walking, looks like in a down the strip or something, and Simone is talking about the attire she wanted to wear growing up at her wedding, and by attire I mean sneakers. And then this is interrupted by Liv, who again is questioning her decision to get married. And Simone gets mad here, but I honestly feel like she was in the right. Like, let's recap here. Like, the start of your relationship with her twin was based on a lie. Then you lied again to push Jordan away. And then y'all barely been together about half a second. Like, if Liv, his twin, didn't have reservations, that would have been an issue. Not this. Like, I didn't like Simone's reaction to this question. Like, I get standing on your own merit. However, the way she went about it would have got them braids snatched straight out. Like, bruh, she gonna end the conversation talking about the wedding is happening, sis. Couldn't have been me. Couldn't have been me. We jump back into Spencer and Jordan, and he is asking Spencer to let him know to come out and let him know how he's feeling about the decision. But they are interrupted by two strippers, Coco and Tiffany with one F, and they're looking for JJ. And JJ's been MIA since he's been gone and said he's looking for new friends since he want to party. So the strippers said they were already paid, so they stay, and they paint the scene and make it seem like they're going to do something crazy, but we all know these high schoolers, and Jordan is too cupcake to do something. So next scene, they end up just talking to the strippers and going over Jordan's decision to get married. And one stripper, I believe Coco, agreed that they should get married. And I think Tiffany, with one F, agreed with Spencer that they're rushing they're rushing to get married. This scene, I actually liked it. It's something they'll do like in a movie or something, like a comedy or something. So it was a nice little scene. It was a nice little scene. So I knew they were going to change it to something. But eventually, after they left and the four coming together, Spencer, Simone, Liv, and Jordan and Simone give Liv them their 2 cents, and they said they will get married. they are together, and if they can't accept that, then they are not invited anymore. Typical response, like, so I wasn't expecting anything different here. Like, you got to remember they are in high school, and sometimes, kids think they know everything. They know everything in the world. Like, so once they stick their feet in something so deep, they're gonna see it out most time. Next thing we get Liv and Spencer licking their wounds pretty much and discussing maybe they're the one that's wrong. Maybe Jordan and Simone have it right. They basically run down like their relationships and their parents' relationships and was like, yo, like all these people messed up and they got it wrong. Like maybe Jordan and Simone coming out to Vegas and getting married is the right thing. So they decide, let's go support them. Let's try to make it there in time to, to give them that support because they're alone at this time. And I get that. I remember when I was in the military and my brother and his wife got married or were gonna get married. And I'm like, bro, y'all barely know each other. Like y'all barely got together. Y'all been like half a second. And he was like sure and convinced that she was the one for him. And she was convinced that he was the one for her. So I'm like, hey, if that's how you feel, then I support you. And we've been rocking ever since. So you never know how things will turn out. Next scene, we get Simone and Jordan waiting their turn to get married, and they're discussing the last minute jitters of it, and if they're making a mistake. I did like that they discussed things here, and with Jordan playing devil's advocate, basically question her, saying like, "Is this the right thing? We can still be together and not be married and everything." And Simone does this thing that y'all women like to do. Yes, y'all women like to do. She basically flips the question on him and saying like, "Is that what you want?" Like, like instead of like saying your feelings, she like used a reverse card and on him. But ultimately, Jordan got it resolved, and he says he wants to marry Simone. He wants to spend the rest of his life with her, starting today. And officially, at that moment, uh, that was his proposal. He was asking for her hand, and she, of course, says yes. Then Liv and Spencer then come in and basically apologize for standing in the way, and they are allowed to be a part of the wedding. Now, even though the wedding was about Jordan and Simone, it was painted to be about Liv and Spencer. It was the catalyst to peer into the mind of what they were going through. As Jordan talked about his love for Simone, Spencer got at Liv in Revelation because he is now becoming aware of how all his feelings for Liv, as she has been there for him since day one. Day one. And all the floodgates are now open, and he can finally see past the friend's goggles. And when Simone spoke about Jordan, Liv is going through the same transformation. However, she has always had these feelings for Spencer. I think she was finally seeing that he was actually staring at her back, like seeing into her soul, like no mask, no filter, like everything was raw. And in the opening at that moment, like their soul were intertwining or touching. All this was happening as a song from Queen and Slim, Collide, was playing in the background, and I was sopping it up. I was loving it. I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. If you ain't gonna be with me, boo, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I am glad. I'm talking about 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm watching this episode, and I am loud. I am loud. I'm surprised ain't nobody come up in there like, yo, would you shut your mouth? Like, like, bruh. But we move into our last scene. And it was kind of weird for a second. I thought a time skip had happened. It did, but not as much time as I originally thought. We get Liv packing up, getting ready to leave, and Spencer walks in and apologizes for slipping out. He obviously had to go through his thoughts, and after he did, he went straight back to Liv. He also did something else, which I'll talk about just in a few. Liv tells him coming here was a mistake. Liv. Spencer says he wanted her there, and that's why he called her. And I'm like, man, Spencer James. Let me throw some effect on your name. Spencer James. You doing it for me this episode, my guy. You were doing it for me this episode. They do this the double shot scene again when they jump back and forth between the cast to try to drive the scene, and we hop over to Layla and Coop, and here go Coop again, giving advice that she didn't need to give. She talks to Layla, trying to convince her to go get Spencer back, and Layla has doubts, but Coop pumps her up again. So I'm a pump, like, and this leads to Layla going to get her not so man back. And then we jump back to Liv and Spencer. And Spencer gives Liv that necklace, the one that she saw at the psychic's place. This is what Spencer was doing. He was not only leaving to clear his head, but he was going to get that necklace for Liv. Man. And then he says the psychic is right. He needed clarity, and he has it now. Remember, Liv told Spencer early in the episode to take charge and tell her how he felt and to buy her a gift. Spencer was doing all that for her right now. Layla told him his luck would change. All he had to do is bet on the right thing. Spencer was doing that here right now. He was betting on Liv. All the signs was there, and Spencer was putting it all on the line. Spencer then leans in and gives him some lusciousness. Boy, he gets them lips. And Liv doesn't pull back, but embraces it. Oh, boy, and it doesn't stop there. Then Spencer confessing his love. I'm not talking about like, I feel like we should be together. No, he says, I love you. I'm in love with you. He says he didn't know what had happened. Maybe when he got shot. Maybe when they watched all the movies. Maybe it was since his first day at Beverly and he didn't even notice it. But he knows now, and he loves my baby. Yes, he loves my baby. And Liv is hesitant, always hesitant. You know her, and she's worrying about Layla and Asher. But Spencer believes his happiness relies with her, so they should take that chance. And in that moment, I am proud of Spencer. I'm telling you, I was shouting up in this room. You got to understand, it's hard for men to open up, especially black men, because we have been conditioned to be so hard and closed off to emotions and feelings, growing up. So when we open up, it's really something to behold because it's not such an easy thing for us to do. And Spencer is laying it all out right now. You know what I'm saying? So I was proud. But even with all that, Liv says, I'm sorry, and she takes off. But my man didn't stop there. He immediately calls her and left her a voicemail trying to get her back. And while he was at the height of all those emotions, Layla shows up, and she thanks him for all he did for her and lets him know she is now ready to be in a relationship, and she loves him. Like I said, the irony of this episode was genius. Everyone was pushing Layla and Spencer to get together. However, he realizes that Liv is who he wants and where he wants to be. He confesses that he loves Liv, and Liv doesn't say it back, and she leaves him hanging. Then Layla comes in and confesses she loves Spencer, and he doesn't say anything back. They both gave something and got nothing in return. Spencer hoped that it would be Liv that came through that door, but it wasn't. However, it was someone who was willing to give him something that he wanted for Liv. After which, Layla goes in for a kiss, and Spencer is now the Liv in the situation, and Layla is now the Spencer. Spencer at first doesn't want to reciprocate the kiss back. Like, he was numb. He was numb to the entire thing. Like, you can see it on his face. Like, he's sitting there. Like, he's not there. He's like on autopilot. Like, things are happening, but he the gears are not moving. Like, the factory is closed. Everybody left for the day. But, she started to undress Spencer, and then he started kissing her and started dressing her back. As a voice narrates as the message he left on Liv's voicemail as he gets into his car and leaves. Then we jump back to the present to see Spencer and Layla is in tears, and the episode concludes. I know that was a whole lot, and I know I skipped over Patience plot for the story, but I wanted to dig deep into the other plots going on in this episode, so that's why I made that choice. Now, let's dive into the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. The good. My boy Spencer. Yes, I put Spencer on my good list. This man showed growth this episode. Like, he never let anyone on, he acknowledged his feelings, and he went after the girl. While he did sleep with Layla, and I was not mad at him for that. Hear me out. Hear me out. Layla is someone he has relations with, and he is comfortable and familiar with their situation. Just like Layla assumed the first time they had sex, this time it was Spencer's escape. He was numb at the moment. He just confessed his soul to Liv to be left standing there, and then get caught off guard by his ex, who is a good person for him as well to confess her feelings. He is human, he in high school, and he got caught up. But when asked, he gave Layla the truth and didn't leave anything out. Because of this, he is on my good list this episode. I understand he did some dumb stuff by getting together with Layla and making their relationship official, even though his heart still pines for Liv. That was wrong because you're stringing someone along and you're wasting their time. However, we get that because Liv pushed him away, and Liv doing I don't know what, he kind of like settled. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens when you like, I do got someone that loves me, that wants to help me grow, and maybe I'm reaching, and this is where I need to be. So you settle in. It happens, and it sucks. But besides that, Spencer is on my good list. I can't wait to hear y'all thoughts on that, because I feel like I'm gonna have people coming for my neck. Like, how dare you? But we'll see. The bad. Simone in her mouth with an F. Not mouth, mouth. Like, I didn't appreciate the lips she gave Liv. Like, because Liv wasn't coming at her from a place of malice. She was really concerned about them and expressed her feelings, whether you agreed or not. Coming at her like that with all that petty got you on my bad list this week. Also, the group. Yeah, I'm putting the group on there for assuming that Spencer was destined to be with Layla. Like, no one asked Spencer what he wanted once. And because of that, y'all hopping on the bad list. Shame on y'all. Now, the downright disrespectful. I know y'all know who on here. Yes, it is my boo, Liv. Liv. How you gonna fly out to Vegas with new 2 a.m. freshly done braids to see Spencer, to spend the day with him, give him the Google eyes, embrace his kiss, hear his feelings, only to say, I'm sorry, Spencer, just to leave? Then, from what we learned, went to go see Asher. I originally thought she got overwhelmed and left, and then I thought she was going to come back in the episode and see like Layla and Spencer kissing, and then decide it was a bad idea to come and then go to see Asher. Nope. She just left with no rhyme and reason after all that. Then kept Spencer at bay, ran and jumped as Asher armed, knowing he had a summer boo, and has yet to remove the social distance you placed between you and Spencer. Like, I get that other people are involved, but for my timeline, both you and Spencer were single in Vegas. They don't owe Layla or Asher anything for that moment. So what's the problem besides getting back together with people you don't want to be with, stringing them along, and now looking stupid because you wasted their time and yours? Liv, my boo, baby, get it together. Oh, and before I forget, Mr. JP, JP 2.0, JP in this episode, we got to see the full story of Patience. Patience was amped up by Coop to let JP know how she was feeling about singing his pop song and to show her his song or her song. Patient goes play this fire song to him, and he said he likes it and she should tweak it a few and send him a record. She sends him a record only for him to give it to Lil Jewel. Lil Jewel then comes over to thank Patient about the record and say it was fire, and that's when Patient know that JP stole the song and she's hurt by it. She then goes to go confront him, and then that's when she sees Lil Jewel and him swapping spit going into the room. And then she asks Coop later on, is Lil Jewel married? And Coop says, yeah. And it stops there. That was pretty much the sum of her plot line or storyline during the episode. And I skipped it in the beginning, but I want to give a synopsis here just in case you want to know. So I put him on a downright disrespectful list too, because he sat there and listened to the song, amped the girl up, and just to steal a song just because you sleeping with your client. Like, come on, my God. But the music industry is crazy, so hey. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you stayed this long, I appreciate you, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts about this episode, your goods, your bads, and your downright disrespectful. And if your theories were right, let me know all this in the comments below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, click that noti bell, hit all, and share like you care, and we'll see you in the next video, all right? Till then, peace. Wait a minute. Yeah, as reminded. JJ. So JJ disappeared in the episode, and we find out why when Liv was about to leave to get in the cab. Naomi Beautymon, a subscriber on this channel, great person, she points out that the picture behind Liv, the old Magic Mike looking picture, is JJ. It's JJ and two other people. So while he went looking for friends and whatnot and disappeared, I can see why. Because the boy was getting his strip on. Like, well, I love JJ. But anywho, all right. I had to throw that in there before I ended the video. Now, y'all have a wonderful day and be easy. Peace.
You just come running by.